Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of the DaVon Lewis Show. Appreciate you guys coming out. Like, comment, subscribe, show your love. Appreciate you guys in the long run for the way how you guys come out and show your love. Tonight's episode was phenomenal from start to finish. I enjoyed every single segment when it came to tonight. We had the return of the Young Bucks, basically with a whole new persona of being Matthew, and also basically when it came to both of them, they renamed themselves and innovated themselves. So we shall see what happens with that when it comes to Young Bucks. Now I wasn't big fans of them for a little bit because they were kind of getting a little bit stale, and I just was just losing a lot of interest in the long run when it come to them. So it looks like they may be the runner-ups to be in Sting's last match, but there's so many potentials when it comes to people that I think deserve better when it comes to Sting, like Dustin Rhodes. I haven't seen those two go at it, not yet. I've seen them from the past when I looked it up. They've been tag team, but they have never officially faced each other. And I think they will be a valiant point of having those two go at it. But I know some people be like, but it's two old people ever? Man, cut it out. It is what it is. I think they'd be perfect when it comes to how they deliver themselves and how they handle themselves. Can't go wrong when it comes to um I would love to see that Dustin Rhodes versus Sting, but it looks like it's going to be Darby, or even if it was Darby Allen as being the main one to basically be defined, and ended up just setting that up in the long run of having that match. So let's go ahead and get into it when it comes to AEW Dynamite. I appreciate you guys. God bless you guys for wherever you guys are coming from. If you're coming on the Twitter side, YouTube, or Facebook, you guys are all appreciated by showing your love. But help me get into the algorithm of getting noticed. Thumbs up will help in the most. If you guys will basically appreciate and show your support, comment below, like, comment, subscribe. It's always wanted and is always needed when it comes to it. And also show my love to anybody else who's in the IWC because everybody's a fan of professional wrestling. You can't go wrong with that whatsoever. But we kick off Dynamite with the first match of the night. It was Christian Cage versus Dustin Rhodes, the man I was just discussing. I feel like this match was like a close to an A minus. It had its flaws. It was great start to finish. Um, Christian ended up having kill switch, and he also ended up having um, Nick in his corner as well. But we shall see when it comes to how they do that and how they figure that out. But get back into it. They started off pretty strong with a couple of collar elbow tie-ups. They were struggling to get position into the ropes with a couple of breakage. Cage ended up with a front kick and a right hand. With the crossroads with a snap scoop power slam for a near fall. And Christian falls to the floor to catch his breath. And it continues to go further as Dustin follows up after with a hard whip into the steel steps. And then he goes back in the inside and jogs for position in the turnbuckle. And Rhodes crashes to the floor. Cage ended up going to the top of the ropes for a plancha and takes Dustin Rhodes down, and then they ended up going to break. Back from the commercial break, both men were down and out, trading rights, palm strikes back and forth while they were on their knees, and they were rising to their feet. The fans were getting invested, and they were basically rallying for both men to continue to get this match going. Couldn't go wrong with them both as they continue to be valiant and keep it going far. Then as they ended up getting their feet, the Natural Justice Rhodes end up hitting a Yoshi Tonic and getting a near fall. And Rhodes started to get frustrated a little bit, but he held his own when it came to the way how he presented himself and continued to keep pushing for the long run in this match. And then Christian takes advantage of the match, ended up choking Rhodes into the ropes, and then hit him with a big right hand and Dustin off to the ropes for the hard right hand, which Christian Cage blinds him, took him down for a little bit. And then he ended up snapping Dustin Rhodes' neck into the ropes and then going to the top rope, trying to go for a valiant clean frog splash. He ended up missing. And then Rhodes ended up hitting for a small package. Nick Wayne and Killswitch ended up getting involved, and Killswitch ended up distracting Aubrey Edwards. And then Nick Wayne hopped in the ring, rolled it over, and which was in the pan. And then Rhodes kicked off for a 2 count. And a display of slaps from Christian and pie facing while Dustin was in the corner after trying to get to his feet. The Natural walked him across the ring with a couple of right hands and then an inverted face lock. And then Christian kicked out. Then he ended up proceeding to pick him up, hit Christian with the crossroads. And Christian ended up kicking out for a 2 count. Then for a 2 count, then Nick Wayne got involved, distracted Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes went to the inside and was able to, a valiant effort, able to take out Nick Wayne and same with Kill Switch. And then he rolled back, and then he was able to hit a flipping Canadian destroyer on Nick Wayne. It wasn't the prettiest, but he still got it when it came to how he handled himself in his match. He delivered it nice and clean. He tried to deliver it nice and clean, but it was a little botch, but it was all good though. Then he rolled back in the ring, and then Christian passed roll with a hard right in the corner, and then he connected with a spear, and then a kill switch, and Dustin Rhodes kicked out at a 2 count. And then Dustin Rhodes wouldn't stay down. He was fighting to the end. And then Christian underhooked him again and hit him down again for another kill switch. And then it was a 1, 2, 3, down like another day in the neighborhood. As Christian Cage ended up picking a pinfall with the kill switch, and he retained the TNT Championship. Looks like we still got storytelling. Christian's the one of those best, and when it comes to how he presents himself, the best heel in the business. Can't go wrong with the way how he delivers himself, how he presents himself, how his mannerism. Still rocking a turtleneck and still finding ways to be valiant and be calm, cool, and collective. The way how he handled himself. And then we switch over to Shane Strickland in a backstage segment. We have Renee Paquette. She's basically doing a valiant interview. She asks him, he ended up laughing, and he says his eyes are everywhere. Um, he'd be a fool to not pay attention to the main event. And who comes out as champion? He is laser focused on the title. He didn't win the Continental Classic, but he came out of it with everybody talking about him, which is true. I, Shane is going to be the main man. He's going to be the next AEW World Champion. You can't go wrong with the way how he delivers himself and how he presents himself. He's going to be a moving cornerstone in the near future when it comes to AEW professional wrestling. I'm putting this on as a stamp that he will be the next AEW World Champion, and you couldn't ask for a better person to be the first Black AEW World Champion. I talked to a couple of buddies of mine, and we've been going straight forward. And we say that the more and more the cheers are getting louder, they're getting better. Shout out to the main man who's over there. Just went there tonight. He went ahead and had a good time, and I appreciate you with your life as a support. Seeing that when you shared it earlier, you know who you are, and I appreciate you, my man. Appreciate you. Moving on to back to it. And Renee asked him basically about anything else, was the future plans, things like that. He said, but he came out with everybody talked about him, and that makes him the most dangerous man going for the most coveted prize in the industry, the AEW World Championship. And then he was asked about Hangman Page, and he says that his eyes everywhere, the Hangman is impeccable, and he beat Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson, John Moxley, Roderick Strong, JD Drake, Claudio Castelloni, and he thinks Hangman could even beat God, but he can't beat Swerve. And that was a nice little dig because he still haven't found a solution to get us sweet. Then we go back to break. And we come to commercial break. Renee Paquette is moving again. She's talking and having a nice little interview with Chris Jericho. He says the tag team title match didn't slip from his grip, but they were ripped out of his hands by the Don Callis family, who took what was rightfully theirs, and he talks about what weapons and he wants to use for his revenge. Now he's going to seek and destroy Koneske Tateska ass. Kind of weird, but that was what he wanted to put out there. Then Matt Sydal, which we haven't seen in a while, he rolls up and he says he can toss it, and this isn't the Jericho he knows. He knows to get in the ring with somebody who beat him before. And Jericho says he respects him as a wrestler, but maybe he's even born to do this. And he'll fight him on Rampage this Friday. So if you're in the area, go check out Rampage, or you have some downtime for the weekend. Turn it on, check it out, and see what's going on with AEW Rampage. Can't go wrong when it comes to watching that. You can't go wrong whatsoever. Move along, best friends. They was in a variant when it comes to Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta. They verse Commander and Pent Zero. Um, this match was booked earlier in the day, which they basically had a nice little interview with Renee earlier in the day, and they basically set up this tag team match. And we also had a nice surprise seeing Ray Phoenix. He was there as well as he's making his valiant return and getting well. Best wishes to you, my brother. Hopefully, you make your return back here for AEW soon in 2024. It's your year to become great. Maybe you become a single star again and go for that TNT Championship or even for the AEW International Championship. But they're back to the match. Cassidy and Penta, they start off the match with taunting and trading arm drags. Commander comes in, and then Beretta directs traffic, and best friends are in control as we go to break. As we go to commercial break. Then we come back from commercial break. Then when Trent hangs Commander in a tree of woe, but he sets him up in a dodge dropkick for Cassidy. Tara sends him Beretta to the floor and then up kicks him back in the inside. Trent hammers elbows into the ropes while Riff Knuckles warn him to get off a Commander, and then floats off a powerbomb crucifix pin, but Trent kicks out. Commander's off the top rope with a big splash. Orange breaks it up into everybody do something cool, which is they start doing them high spots. They start hitting their trademark moves, and it turned out win. And then Orange Cassidy ended up hitting the Orange Punch, and then Trent ended up hitting the Dude Buster for the 1, 2, 3 as the best friends. Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta ended up picking the victory. As they were getting ready to celebrate, we had a post-match interruption. It was Roderick Strong, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett. They come to the ring, and they tell basically Orange Cassidy what he felt for that moment. And he gets to the ring as they clear their case as being the undisputed. And they said they need to go for more gold. Roderick tells Orange Cassidy to take off his glasses so he can look at him in his eyes. And while he was in a tag team tonight, he is such a fighting champion and takes on all comers. It is because he is running out of gas, or is it because the title belongs to him and he can't face it? Orange tells him he's got it right here, right now. He's basically straight to the point. If you want it, come and get it. Come ahead and get into this match. Show what you got. And of course, Roderick decided to play the heel role. He said, nah, not tonight, but we can set it up for another big stage, on the main event stage, on the pay-per-view stage. And he says, while we wait to Revolution and spend every day knowing that he's going to keep his title warm as Roderick is going to take it off of him. And that story's going to hit hard if Roderick is looking to get more gold. They clarified it these past few weeks that the Undisputed Kingdom are looking to take all the gold in AEW or Ring of Honor. And they're looking to plant themselves as the dominant faction when it comes to AEW. We never know what can happen, but this stable is looking to be around for a long time. I'm digging these boys, but I don't know what's going to happen when it comes to Wardlow. Wardlow look like he's going on his way to his own destiny for himself. Wardlow only could do so much until he just be over it and keep it pushing and keep it moving. Probably win the gold and go from there. Moving forward, Hangman Adam Page. He has an interview with Renee Paquette. She is moving again in the backstage in the segment. And she ended up asking him about what he felt about the main event and Swerve. And she basically breaks it down and says, for the past 5 years, you won't find anyone who cared about the AEW World Championship more than he did. He realizes he wants to win it then, and he wants to hold it and make it his now and keep it there as long as he can. He tells Swerve it doesn't matter because Samoa Joe is the world champion, and he'll be watching tonight's main event as well as it concludes. And they cut basically back to another segment of knowing what's going to happen. We're going to see if this looks like it's going to end up being a match in the future as they set up either a match before a Revolution and give Samoa Joe a break, or they're going to be some kind of sneaking it in where we're going to see a three-man match, a triple threat, old school way of having Hangman, Swerve, and Samoa Joe. But we have to wait till the main event to see what happens and go from there. Mark Briscoe, he makes his way down the entrances, and he says, this is the 1-year anniversary of Jay Briscoe's death. He gets on the mic and he says, South Carolina, what's good? He said, he comes to us tonight representing the baddest tag team in the history of the planet, them boys. The Briscoe brothers tragically 1 year ago tonight, his partner, his brother, passed away in a car accident. Generations come, generations go, and his niece was in the truck with them and told his oldest niece she wouldn't walk again. However, he hands off to the stage, and his nieces and nephew walks out on the stage under their own power, and he thanks all of us and says they love us. And then they cut to a memory package of Jay Briscoe, which was phenomenal and great. The way how AEW production put it together for Jay Briscoe, you couldn't ask for another great video. The way how they continue to show love and support. In the long run, we probably end up seeing a Jay Briscoe tournament in Ring of Honor and keep his legacy going. And Mark is doing a phenomenal job of keeping it going. I know it's hard because it's the 1 year anniversary, but them boys are still always going to be on top for a long run and always be notified on the indies, even in the WWE as well, as being one of those variant great tag teams. And you can't go wrong with them boys. They come back, commercial break. Renee Paquette is interviewing the Young Bucks, Nick and Matt. And of course, Nick cuts her off and says, they insist for you to call us by our full name, God-given names, Nicholas and Matthew. Nice. All allegations of tantrums, whatnot, and asks if she and John Mox would do whatever it is to protect their daughter when they're willing to lose. And they're in a new position as showing seriousness as being the VPs of AEW Wrestling. We shall see how this new persona goes as them playing a little bit more serious, but they needed to find something to become better as they haven't been getting a little stale line, kind of a little stale over the time. And we need to see where they go from here. Hopefully they become better, but we know they can put on a tag team clinic, but they just becoming just flatline. No variants, no upgrades. They need to do something to get them over the hump. And back to it, Renee Paquette asked them. She asked about Sting, and then Matthew says they used to talk about changing the world. They were disruptors, rebels, out with the old, in with the new. And for a while, they did that, but then they lost their way. The culture shifted, and a perception of the company was different. And it's because they started leaning on yesterday's self-serving, cancerous superstars. If you know what that means, that was a dig at CM Punk or some other talent who basically were giving a direct issue on how they felt. And they didn't know how to act. They was going on Twitter complaining, all this stuff like that. They went out, go WWE. But this is straightforward telling Tony Khan, if talent don't want to be there, let them go. It's all right. You have enough rosters to stop and adapt and make new stars each and every single day. So find a new way to make the tide changes and bring something new and innovative and bring that spark back to what AEW used to be. Because AEW has lost that glimmer of shine, like that honeymoon phase, and we got to get it into this new direction. We got to be a true alternative. You got to find that way and that valiant point to continue to be that way. But then Matthew ended up saying that this isn't about Sting. Sting is great. He's a role model. He's a role model employee. He's awesome. One of the greatest of all time, however. It's about Sting represents. He's the last of a dying breed. And his image isn't in line with what they want to do in AEW. So unfortunately, they have to say goodbye to him and to everybody like him. They never asked anybody to do something they weren't willing to do themselves. Nicholas shows Matthew something on his phone and says they pull some strings and get something accomplished. As it's looking like the Young Bucks are looking to be the last opponents for Sting. As Sting and Darby Allin have been undefeated on a great hot streak. And the Young Bucks are looking to be the cornerstone of putting the nail in the coffin for Sting's last match in AEW. But we shall see what happens. And it's going to be good either way it goes when it comes to Revolution. Bullet Club Gold. They're coming out to the ring. It's Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn, and Switchblade. Jay White versus the Mogul Embassy, which is Bishop Khan, Brian Cage, and Toa Liana. The match is for the six-man tag team championship, the Trios championship, the Ring of Honor. Khan and White start off the match. Bishop's in control with strikes, dragon screws, with from a switchblade attack to the Ass Boys, working Khan over, and then Austin gets cut off. And then Prince Nana starts doing his dance. You gotta love it. When he drives, he makes it happen. And you can't go wrong when it comes to that. The dance always gets over. And boots up the gates of Khan with a longer blower, and Toa freight trains Gunn with an elbow as a tool as we go to break. Back from commercial break, it's a hot tack to Colton, and lariats everybody and lays them out. A couple of drop kicks on Liana, and then he ended the floor. And tossing Gunn into a powerbomb air raid crash from Bishop. Austin and Jay make their save, passing Cage into the post. Colton turns around and underhooks from Khan, and back body drops and tags Switchblade. Chops in the corner, and the match breaks down to everybody do something cool. Khan hits a fireman carry gut buster. Then out of nowhere, Anthony Bowens come down, causes the interference. Bishop turns around and gets pinned by Switchblade with the Blade Runner and hit it with a 1, 2, 3. We have our new Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions, Bulletproof Globe. As we know where this is going, bang, bang, scissor game, as this is going to be a phenomenal group as they're looking to go against the undisputed Kingdom. The post match, we see the Claim standing on the stage. Anthony Bowens offers the scissors fingers. Scissors up. And they cut back to backstage. And they have Adam Cole cutting a promo and out and how he haven't even scratched the surface on what Wardlow is capable of. And he's going down as the most dominant wrestler in AEW history. And then they go to break. Follow up with that, Wardlow is back again into another group. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if it's a good idea, but we never know what we're going to get when it comes to the Wolf. He needs to find his way and find his path, but now he's back in that same setup of being the hired for gun big man. And I don't know if I like this position. He needs to branch out and go back to being that heel run, just dominate and run shot on everybody and just do his thing. The position, they lost the momentum when they basically had him cut his hair, lost to Samoa Joe, and still trying to find himself in the long run. We need to see something better when it comes to that man in general. If they don't know what they're going to do with Wardlow, he might be on his way to WWE if they can't figure it out directly. They go to break. And then they get ready for the next match. It's Anna Jay versus Deonna Purrazzo. Tony Storm comes down, gyrating, and comes into her form with the black and white screen and makes her way down to the commentary with Luther. And it's looking phenomenal. They continue to push her and they continue to do that segment with her. Can't go wrong when it comes to how they handle everything. Tony Storm, she's a gem. She's doing good things. So she found her next upgraded to herself. You can't go wrong when it comes to how they handling her and how they doing things. It's becoming great the way how they're shifting and pushing her and making her a better each and every single time that we see her on our television screens. Back to the match, Anna Jay and Deonna Purrazzo. They start off with a couple of grapples, and then Purrazzo stomps the hand, and then Jay gets into a combat, and then they go into a commercial break. Deonna just start off with a couple of knees, and she hit it with a side leg sweep, and then Anna Jay counters into a pin, but Purrazzo drops her with a big boot for the near fall with a little bit more pressure. They continue to trade a couple of shots, then they go to a couple screenshots directly back at Tony Storm watching the match, and they go into black and white. I like the transition. They keep it Tony Storm. Anytime you see her, they put her on the black and white. And then back to the match. Deonna Purrazzo was controlling the majority of the match. She ended up tapping out Anna Jay with the Venus del Milo. Move is phenomenal. She was variant, and she locked it on her. And there was nothing else more that Anna Jay could do. Anna Jay is finding her own. She's going on a losing streak right now, but it can get better each and every single day when it comes to Anna Jay. I give her props for doing everything that she can, and it puts it in the bag. of that match. The post match, Renee Paquette comes down to the ring. She's working overtime and doing another interview. And then she interviews Deonna Purrazzo. And Purrazzo says she doesn't know what has gotten into Tony Storm, but they know each other for a long time. They used to be like sisters. And it's been clear when she arrived to AEW, she had changed. But she has been friends with Deonna, and she never met the Virtuosa. Storm gets on Luther's shoulders down at the ringside at the commentary desk and says, if you get technically she's an artificial cane hag, and her past is none of Deonna's concern. And she autos to the right in the ring and sucks her butt box. But basically, now she says, it's one thing for show. Watch out for the shoe. As she says, lift your tits, suck it in, and watch out for the shoe. She threw the shoe as Tony chucks the shoe at her and marches off Luther on the shoulders to send us into break. The next match, Private Party. Isaiah Cassie and Mark Quinn, they're taking on Top Flight, Dante Martin and Darius Martin. This match went for the distance. It's a solid 8-minute match. You couldn't go more wrong when it comes to how they did everything. This match was basically superficial. It was a solid back and forth when it came to fast pace, trade off moves, and they did everything to keep the fans invested. And of course, Mark Quinn ended up cheating for the pinfall, picking up the pin on Darius Martin with the O'Connor roll and then with the hands on the ropes. Looked like this match is going to go more into detail as the post match they came kind of face to face, arguing each other as Action and Andretti came down to the ring. And we're going to get more of these two teams going at it in the long run. You can't go wrong when it comes to these two teams. Private Party, Isaiah Cassie, Mark Quinn know how to put on the show. They're slowly becoming a fan favorite again and figure out themselves out. In Top Flight, they're always on point. You can't go wrong with Dante and Darius Martin. I love these two teams. They're the future of AEW, and you can't go wrong with them whatsoever. We go to a video package, of course, of Darby Allin and Sting in their tag title match against Big Bill and Ricky Starks. So they're they basically go through that whole setup and go from there. Then we push over to the AEW World Championship. We have Hook versus Samoa Joe for AEW World Championship. They started off strong with the entrance of Hook coming in with the Hook signal. I loved it. I even tweeted out Tony Khan, hey, put the Hook signal on his entrance, it'll be golden. And now they've been doing it since. This is the first time they actually now put it officially in his entrance. And can't go wrong with that whatsoever. The match started off strong. Hook basically started off with Joe with a couple punches onto the floor, and then back in the inside, off the ropes, Samoa Joe ended up destroying him with a backhand and a couple of more strikes. Samoa Joe asked him if he understands yet, and the elbows drops him for a 2. And the Hook cuts him off, and then with a diving forearm off the apron and puts the champion on his knees. He put Hook through the announcer's desk and with a rock bottom and struts his little Samoa Joe walk on the outside. Referee Brian Rimsberg, Bryce basically tells him to get back in the ring, and he starts counting the count. And then Hook flips Joe with the Doe Bird, and then Joe basically hit him with an apron power bomb. And then Taz basically takes off his headset, looking concerned as the sun is down, as doctors are there as well checking on Hook. Hook was getting beat down. And then Joe proceeded to continue to beat down. The ringside doctors check on Hook. Well, the count and the Hook beats the count close to 10, but he gets back in. Joe throws in the corner, hit him with a snap scoop power slam for a close 3 count, but it was close. And then from there, Joey ended up hitting a Death Valley Jar, but still Hook kicks out at a 2 count. Throwing Hook into the corner, Samoa Joe puts him on the top, big chops him, kicks him into a muscle butters at 1. Then Hook comes on the offense with a couple of variant clotheslines, a couple of lariats, and a couple of throws, and throwing his whole entire body at Samoa Joe, even hitting a heart hammering to each punch, even hitting the Northern Light suplex as Hook continued to go through. But then Hook tries to hit the Red Rum, and Joe breaks out of it and then counters with the Coquina Clutch, hit him with the headlock, and put him to sleep. Even though Hook never gave up, but he faded out and he did everything he could. And then Samoa Joe put a tough beat down, but Hook did everything he could and went from there as there was referee stoppage from there. On the post match, Hook was slowly getting his feet out. Samoa Joe was in it, leaving the ring, and Hook says, "Is that all you got?" Samoa Joe come back to the ring, hit a couple of shots, pick him back up, and hit another muscle buster. And Hook continued to get up, and then Samoa Joe is about to give him another, but Hangman Page makes a save and comes down to the ring to direct his case. Samoa Joe rolls directly out the ring, and then you see the camera cuts over to the crowd. You see my man, Swerve Strickland. Swerve, when we drive, doing his thing. And he's looking pretty over with Prince Nana, and it's looking good in the going run. It's looking good. It's looking like gold as we see where this is going from there. As they all three do a 3-way stare down, Samoa Joe ends up heading to the back, and then they cut away as Swerve ends up leaving, and the Hangman tries to stick around and tries to help Hook up to his feet so he can leave and hit with his head high under his own. But Hook basically shoved him off and basically leaves on his own power as the show goes off the air. All my takes from this whole entire Dynamite, it was great. I enjoyed it. I appreciated every single moment of this match. You couldn't go wrong with each caliber match, including our 3 championships, which we have Bulletproof Gold as being the new Ring of Honor 3-man tag team champions. I don't know where they're going with that when it comes to that, but we know we're getting some people on Twitter was basically chopping it on the chopping block saying, are they going to get a unification? But the Ring of Honor championships need to stay on Ring of Honor, so give it a little bit more shine. And AEW championships need to be focus point with AEW. There's way too many championships directly in AEW right now, and we need to spread it out a little bit and give some shine to the championships that we do have directly on the shows. If it's Dynamite, Rampage, or even Collision, they need to find a focal point to make it work and make it become a cornerstone of how they do things and how they make it work. Overall, was the show great? It had its flaws, but it was cool for what it was. It wasn't too bad. I enjoyed the women's segment. There's a lot of interviews tonight. Renee was working overtime, and you couldn't get wrong with that whatsoever. To all you guys who's out there showing my love and support, showing my by liking, sharing, and subscribing, and showing your love support. If you got people who's a little hood nerd like myself, who's enjoy a little bit of wrestling, gaming, and stuff like that, feel free to show them some support and send it my way, or show them my love and go from there. Also, you can contribute through Cash App, $, my first and last name, and you should be able to find me from there. But all the while, appreciate you guys on the first one. 2024 is looking promising. Like, comment, subscribe again. You guys be blessed, stay blessed, and continue to be yourselves. And don't worry what anybody else feels about you in the long run, because you are all God's children, You guys are all awesome, and I appreciate you. Once again, y'all have a great night. Peace.